trees and like it's a nature hike. Like I'm like, there's no way we're gonna find this. So we end up just walking to the top where the slide is, and I'm looking through it. It's 6 a.m. The sun is just barely up. The water's freezing. I step in there and it was freezing. I'm like, no way. Like I'm not gonna do this. And my Uncle Wayne gets there and he dives right in. He don't care. It's his wedding ring. I didn't understand the importance of it. Of course, like it's not my thing. So he's swimming and swimming. He goes, I see something, but the current is so hard I can't swim down there. I'm like, okay, Uncle Wayne. I'm like, give me your goggles. I'll look. So I get to this part and it's about 7-8 feet deep. So, but it's right at the slide. So I'm kind of looking at it. I put my face down, and all I'm thinking is, no way. No way. On the one giant rock, it was completely flat rock, and in the center of it was his wedding ring.
No way.
And all I'm thinking is like, at that moment, like I'm thinking like, no way, like that is there, because like when I went down it, like I hit the bottom, and there were 30 people there when we left going down this slide. I'm like, someone would have had to kick it. So then I dived down, I gave it to him. He cried, and like there's a picture of him hugging me. Then my ex-girlfriend's like, oh my God. I was like, it's like my favorite picture ever.
Yeah.
And it made no sense to me that ring would be there.
Wow. It's like a Hobbit moment.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's just it's one of those things like, yeah, you can probably explain it, but really, we're not.
A lot of moments too where I feel like throughout the day, like you said, you see those connections, you know, and I'm like, when I recognize it, I'm not religious. I didn't really grow up religiously.
Yeah.
But I still bow, and I still like say thank you for the connection, for like seeing, for the sign, for whatever, for the blessing, for.
Well, it's a cheat code. It's a cheat code in life to be faithful in something. If it's like my faith is God. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in the Virgin Mary, His mother, all that. But believing in something above you and being fearful of it and yet appreciative of it is a cheat code in life. Because if you know you have something that's watching over you, you tend to let things go.
Whoa. You release the control.
Yeah.
Which that's what we all are trying to overcome.
Yeah, right? Just let life happen. Right? I always say it.
Well, all right, problem solved. No,
right? But sometimes, like, when bad things...
It takes practice.
Yeah, bad things keep happening. Like, well, this ain't working. My prayers aren't working. But God doesn't answer your prayers the way you want it. So
you have to see the lesson.
Yeah. Just be patient. Which everybody needs patience. Everybody.
Did your family raise you that way, or is it something you got into as you got older?
As in?
Just like
religion? I went to a Catholic school. My whole family went to Catholic school. I wasn't very Catholic or religious when I was in high school. I was actually one of the only Catholic students not to take religion class. I actually got in a fight with my teacher when I was in high school because she got all upset with all of us, and she's like, you know, people used to die for believing in Christ. And I was like, yeah, because it was illegal. And she's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, illegal things are fun. They're new. There wasn't a lot of things going on back then, so this was something to do. No different than people, you know, sneaking out at night or whatever. It's just something interesting. And so she's like, that's the dumbest answer I've ever heard. And I was like, cool. You don't like my answer, I'm not gonna, if you're gonna ridicule my answer or whatever, I'm just gonna leave. So I didn't take religion classes my junior and senior year.
How did you feel confident at that age to recognize that?
I was a hooligan.
But that's, I mean, like what you said is.
Yeah, it's realistic. Absolutely, it's realistic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's I don't know. I don't remember much, but I slept a lot through high school. All through class. Every class, just took a nap.
Oh my goodness. I remember doing that too. Yep. Through history class.
Yeah.
I don't know how I passed. That was in college, though.
Oh.
So it was like a dark room. And I was like, yeah, I'm totally reading my book. So how did you get here today? Like, what brought you to, your YouTube channel, your jiu-jitsu, all of that? What's the journey from? What's your story?
So jiu-jitsu, I was dating my daughter's mother, and she worked at a restaurant. She was a manager, and this other manager was there, and I wasn't into the whole fighting thing. UFC was pretty popular. It still is pretty popular. It was really popular back then. And he's like, oh, do you fight? Do you spar? I'm like, no, I don't do that. He's like, oh, you want to someday? And I was like, yeah, sure. I was 24, 23 at the time. I'm like, yeah, that sounds fun, actually. And I knew some guys that did it, and I went to them like, hey, like, I know you guys do this MMA stuff. You kind of want to throw me in there and see what other? And the guy's like, yeah, sure, why not? And I barely know these guys. So I go train with them. And they kept calling me Mike. I always remember this. And my friend Chris, he always laughs at me because Mike is like my alter ego to him. And I was so scared and nervous because these guys are, technically professional fighters, and they're bouncers and all this. And I remember like a full week goes by, and finally I'm like, hey, my name's Matthew. So then I had a house in Fargo. I wanted to try MMA. I was working in the oil field with neighbors drilling. And so for 2 weeks, I basically made a gym in my basement. And for I think my first 3 fights, I trained in my basement to do them. And then I went more traditional. My buddy moved, I went traditional, and I actually got into a appropriate Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school and stuff like that. And the MMA stuff was just a hobby. Like, it was just for fun. Like, that's all it was. It's just me to be competitive. But Jiu-Jitsu was always my outlet. Like, when it was me to release energy because I was super young, and then when I got a little bit older and realized the people that were there were like some of my best friends still to this day. Like, I have friends all over the world from jiu-jitsu, and it's just brought good things to my life at the end of the day.
So what inspired you to open up your own gym?
I wanted to do it a long time ago when I was a blue belt. So in jiu-jitsu it goes white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt. And I wanted to open up a gym. I was going to quit the oil field, move back to Dickinson, and this is probably 2017. But then it's like, well, if I do that, I can't travel because I've had opportunities to travel around the world, and I was like, well, if I do that, I won't be able to do all this cool stuff still. And then I quit neighbors drilling. I had a big life change. It was a breakup. And I was like, okay, one of the reasons why this relationship didn't work, or my past relationships didn't work, it was because of this job. I'm gone all the time. Yeah, the money's good, the traveling's good, but being gone for 2 weeks at a time is not just rough for me, it's rougher for the significant other. So I was like, well, if I want to get in another healthy relationship, like, I got to quit that. So actually, another God moment actually was we had a mud pump blow up. And it was the middle of winter, everything was freezing, our boiler goes down, we're shorthanded, and I was like, screw this. So I got off work, I went on my computer, I put an application on a website, I forget what the website is, and the next day I get a call from a hot tub company in Fargo. And I was like, well, that's perfect. And he's like, it's gonna be $25 an hour. I'm like, wow, that basically cuts my pay. That's like a third of my pay. Like, I was like, whatever, like, let's do it. Like, this is the direction my life is going. Heck yeah. So I do that for 6 months, and then my sister Marley, she works at Consolidated. I work at Consolidated in town. And she's like, hey, there's a job opening for an internet technician at Consolidated. So like, sure. So I applied, and I got the job. So I was like, well, I guess I'm moving to Dickinson. And I look at my coach, and I tell him about it. I'm like, would you be okay with me opening a gym? He goes, absolutely. I would be more than happy to be affiliated with you. So I got here, I opened up a gym, and it's a struggle running a gym and trying to get people in the door and try to keep people there, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu isn't the easiest, sport hobby to do.
Why are you so passionate about getting people through the door? Are there things about Jiu-Jitsu that you want others to experience?
Yeah. So Jiu-Jitsu it matters how you do it, right? If you like I say, if you want to be a competitor, and I got into it to be competitive, and it's something you can do for the rest of your life, for one. Two, it's a struggle, especially at the high level. It's a very big struggle, and your conditioning has to be up, your mind has to be clear. Like, you just have to just be able to roll with whatever the person, you know, throws at you, or vice versa. And it just gives you a lot of abilities to, from the mat to life, you know, really work out with each other. Like patience, like when you get caught in something, instead of freaking out, you kind of just sit there, wait, chill out, like, okay, what do I do here? It's actually really good for anxiety too, because you'll get put in a choke and you have to stop and hold yourself there and like try to get out of it while someone's trying to make sure you can't breathe. It's one of those things.
You said that in your struggle podcast, where you're like, yeah, I love getting choked out.
Yeah, no, I'm really good at someone strangling me. Not so much anymore. Like, I'm 38 now, so like my neck ain't as good anymore. But that was the competitive part of me where I wouldn't tap. I would fight through everything, and is what it is. But it's so good. Like, even like I don't get much anxiety ever. I can think of 3 times where I've had, like, say, anxiety all day long. One was when I lost my daughter in court, where instead of her living in Fargo, she moved to Minneapolis, so I lost most of my time with her. So that was 2 weeks of, okay, this stinks. Like, my life is going to dramatically change. Another one was a breakup, and the other one was actually the other day when I was bartending. I talked to somebody, and their life ain't as going as well as I want it to, and I feel like it's my fault. So I had anxiety all day about it, like for 12 hours, and there were times where I had to stop and just sit there and, you know, breathe, and calm down. But it was all day long. Like, I felt like crying all day. Like, it was the worst thing ever. And I thought to myself, if like, I know I was coming here, and I was like, well, like, if I didn't have jiu-jitsu, like, and learn to calm my thoughts and learn to breathe, and like, where would have I been there? Because I was bartending, and it's like, if I couldn't have a meltdown, and I was like, like, everybody's like, oh, you look tired, and I'm like, there's more going on. And that's another thing. Like, when I don't sugarcoat it. When people are like, hey, you know, how are you? I was like, hey, I'm not having a good day, but it's okay. Like, it's one of those things.
I think that's awesome, because we're conditioned to say, so I want you to finish this, actually. So maybe I won't even share my thought.
No, go.
But, so I used to work in Medora. I worked in Medora for one summer, and so you have all the exchange students there, or the exchange people, and I said, what is the weirdest thing about, you know, being here, or what's different about your country and here? And she said, and one of them said, you know, always the food, your guys' food is so big, like that's everybody. But this one gal, very interesting, she said, I don't understand the waste of time on asking how are you. She said, because you're going to say good regardless. Why waste the energy? And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Are we going to just numbingly use these words, or are we going to kind of shift the conditioning of always being good and allowing people to feel all of the emotions and it be okay, like you said?
Yeah, well, it's
not having a great day, but it's okay, because it's true.
If you tell yourself you're not having a great day, and you condition yourself to tell other people, you don't have to give a life story. You don't have to give a life story and like let them know, like, no, I'm not having a good day. I have this stuff going on. You don't have to, like I say, you don't have to, like, people like to throw out their dirty laundry about how their life is going sometimes. But if you're just honest, like, no, having a hard day. And then when you get to your family, especially kids and significant others, like, your kids should know you're having a bad day. Your significant other should know you're having a bad day. Because one, with kids, life ain't peachy when they become an adult. So they need to know when dad's having a bad day. They need to know when mom's having a bad day. They need to know when money's tight and we can't do this. It's not all about getting everything and whatever. You know, as parents, it's our job not just protect, it's prepare. And I think I could go into that all day, but I think, you know, a lot of people are not preparing their kids for the real world.
So was that motivation for you to start Hey Sweetheart?
Oh, the podcast. Yeah. So I started a podcast, and it was a lot of fun. I thought it was clever, and I had good words and stuff like that, just like most people do. And I was in a relationship at the time, and I thought I was above, having certain people on the podcast, especially like my ex-girlfriend wanted to be on. I was like, nah, no, you blood, whatever. But then I didn't bring her a part of it, which I probably should have. But I wouldn't be here if I did at that point too. So it's one of the things. And then I started thinking to myself, I was like, well, what am I doing this podcast for? Do I really care if everybody sees it? Because the only person I want to see is my daughter. So it went from the Ride or Die podcast to Hey Sweetheart. Mm-hmm. So every time I spoke, I go, hey Sweetheart, how are you? And I tell her about my day, I tell her about my struggles or what's going through my head. And she actually watches it. And I remember a couple months ago, maybe my last one, she's like, hey Dad, I listen to your podcast, because she could tell her friends, hey, my dad has a podcast. Mm-hmm. And then I ask her about it, and she gives me comments and whatever. So I really should start doing it again, though. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I think one of the things that I love the most about it is, so usually when I'm listening, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
And today, I just, was clicking play and I'm doing some work, and then I just hear, hey, sweetheart. And I'm like, Dad? And then I was like, oh, that's so, it just kind of occurred to me that you're not just speaking to your daughter, but you're speaking to maybe a lot of inner children.
Yeah, possibly. I've had people randomly message me and say
because it warmed my heart. I was like, oh my gosh, that was such a sweet, because it's coming from your heart, because you're speaking to your daughter. So it was and I could feel that in my heart. Mm-hmm. And it was just it was so cool. So that was for me just a wow, you're not only doing this for her, but you're doing this for so many more people.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Well, and it all started actually because I was like, well, I don't see my daughter a lot. And people well, write her a letter so she can go through these letters. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. And then someone's like, well, that's a lot of letters. It's write her, get her email account and email her every day. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. And I started the email thing, but then it just wasn't me. Mm-hmm. I feel like I am somewhat creative. I am somewhat outgoing, and I don't care what people really think of me because they're not in my life. So I was like, well, I'll just start a podcast. Mm-hmm. So the original thing was to have a podcast for my daughter, but I started it the wrong way. So now I had it going where it's just about my kid and me and having a conversation that should last her whole life. So if she ever wants to go back, that's why keywords are struggle or respect or whatever, and she can go back and just look at it.
Which is another awesome thing about your podcast is just, it's 10 to 15 minutes long.
Yep.
And the quality of what you say is it's just enough to carry throughout the day.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you have a book and there's just good information, but it's about stopping and actually applying what you just heard or what you just read into your life. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so awesome about your podcast.
I really appreciate. Like I said, I should do it. I've had a handful of people, tell me when they see me, oh, I miss you doing your podcast, stuff like that. It's oh, I feel silly doing it. You always get those people oh, you're just trying to be a Joe Rogan or a Theo something, and I'm like, well, that wasn't what I was trying to do. Mm-hmm. So I'll get going here sooner or later. It's still in the plans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just it's creative and creativity. Doing something that you're passionate about, that's kind of what keeps you going, regardless of what it is.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe the people who have anything to say maybe should look a little inward too.
Well, looking inward is the only way you find out who you are, right? Mm-hmm. And that's
because go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's like a house. You look on the outside of the house and it's just gorgeous. Mm-hmm. The trees are beautiful, the trimming's nice, right? It's that picture perfect house. Mm-hmm. But you go on the inside and it's just trash. There's stuff everywhere, there's clutter everywhere, or whatever. And that's no different than the soul. right? Yeah, we can look on the outside at everybody. Women like to use makeup, dress up pretty, whatever, and guys do the same thing, right? But if your mind and soul aren't clean, like what kind of life are you gonna live? Like you're gonna attract all these people that think you're something wonderful, and then you get on the inside, they're like, wow, there's too much here.
Yeah.
So it's like make life simple and get rid of most of it.
So how do you have like such a student mindset where the universe, everything around you is something you can learn from? How did you get there?
I couldn't tell you that. I was in high school. I didn't listen to anybody. I mouthed off all the time, which is pretty sad because I was a really, really talented athlete. But then that's another thing. Like I could say, well, my coaches weren't good enough. My coaches didn't coach me right. But at the time now, I was like, no, like this is my life now. Like just because I could have had it good doesn't mean I still can't have something good, right? And why I learned from everything, it has to be my last breakup. Like I had to me it was a meaningful relationship. To me it was kind of everything I wanted. It was all that in a bag of chips kind of thing, and it didn't work out. And I was heartbroken. Then I sat down and looked at my life. I'm like, well, what am I doing? What am I doing that I couldn't make that work out? What am I doing that made me lose somebody? Now, is it my fault that they left? Probably not. But I can make myself look at the things I did to increase the chances that it happened. So now in life, every time something happens, I look at it, I'm like, well, what can I do to make this better? Or what did I do to make this worse? I guess, I just had a really hard breakup, and I looked at my life and I said I didn't want that anymore. And now I'm kind of I want to say just a student of God, because God is love, is what they say. So I just look at life differently.
That's really awesome. I feel like when you were saying that, I was thinking about vibration too, because the word hate is such a it just vibrates differently than the word love.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like if the word hate is the first thing you want to change, then the vibration of that word is kind of on the lower end of things.
Yeah.
Whereas if you want to change something for love, then the vibration of that word.
But what's the opposite of love?
Well, it's important, all of the vibrations, right?
Yeah, but what, like the word love?
Life is a symphony.
Yeah.
But
What's the opposite of love?
hate. Would that be it?
Would it be it?
I don't know.
No.
Tell me.
I don't think it is. Because you can love something and hate what they're doing, right? You can love a person and hate their actions or hate the way they speak. So love is to embrace and appreciate and just unconditionally love them. The exact opposite, to me, is pride. Because pride is a selfish thing. Pride is all about me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, pride is all about like, hey, this is me. I'm not doing it because this is me. I got too much pride to do it. Well, to me, the opposite of love is pride. So being less prideful is going to allow yourself to be open up for a lot more love.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, it's just thoughts.
Thank you for sharing that. Well, I mean, I'm just thinking for enlightening me.
Yeah.
To see that differently now that's really, I never saw it that way.
Yeah.
And that's really
Pride is
interesting.
Well, it's one of the deadly sins, right? Pride is one of the 12 or 13 or how many are there, I don't know. But yeah, pride is a fool's reward.
So I read like tons of books and all of this stuff, and just lately I was thinking I really need to do they have the Bible on an audiobook?
Yeah, no, I actually have a Bible, and I don't read it. I've read a couple pages, because I always told myself I'm reading, because I've had this same Bible from my grandma from 2011. It was actually the year my daughter was born, and I always tell myself I'm going to read it, and every once in a while I'll throw the book open and point down and read whatever passage is there, and I never get anything cool. It's just
really?
Whatever. No, not really. Proverbs, if you're going to read the Bible, start with Proverbs. It's just an interesting way to look at life.
Okay, I've got one for you. Maybe start with because this is the reason why I want to read the Bible now, is because I started off with the Bhagavad Gita, which is kind of like an Indian type Bible, kind of. And then I went to Tao Te Ching, and I could be pronouncing all of this wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea. But that's Chinese it's a Chinese type of Bible. Like, it's just words to live by, really.
Yeah.
And so, and I found that's what I do. I started off with the Bhagavad Gita, and I would just be like, when I'm feeling a certain way, I would just open it up and just like find what I needed. And then I'm like, cool, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
And then I went on to Tao Te Ching, and same thing. And I'm just like, but these books are only like this.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
Bibles.
I know.
Yeah,
I could only
and
imagine.
I'm bad at reading too, and I'm dyslexic and ADHD, whatever they told me when I was younger.
Yeah.
And so I have.
That's a whole topic we should talk about, because I have the Bible next to my bed. I have the rosary. Rosary is a dedication to Jesus' mother. So, yeah, it's good. I think there's a lot of power in religion. A lot of community and believing in something, where I said before. Because even if you look at it, there's a lot of evil people in the world that use the Bible to give people hope, but just to take advantage of them. There's fake religions out there all over the world, and people will give them hope, but all they're doing is taking their money. So it's people use it for bad too. That's so scary. The thought of just being able to like start out with the right intentions and then shift, and then
maybe they even have the right intentions.
I feel like I'm just constantly trying to figure out where the spiral happens, where we get out of that mindset, and how to get out of that.
How to get out of it?
Yes, when you're in that
wanting stage in life, like I want this, I want that. Is that what we're trying to say?
Let me gather my words here really quick, or my thoughts is what I should say.
Because most people buy stuff and get stuff, one, because it makes them feel good or whatever, but they have nothing fulfilling in life.
Okay, so maybe the question, well, no, go ahead.
Yeah, like how do we fulfill our life, right? Like, what's going to make our life valuable? Like, most people get jobs, and I think it's people get jobs and they love their jobs, but then their family, suffers. Or, most girls don't feel pretty, I feel like, these days because of social media, and you see all these girls, glamming up and just being, the best they can be, and they think there's, maybe in their mindset they feel like they're natural, and that's how pretty women look, when, like, I don't even know where to go with that. Like, I have a 13-year-old daughter that I'm so worried about her and how she's going to act and grow up and what she's going to have trouble with, and I just want her to just be comfortable with who she is and just be quiet and listen to people and just be nice to everybody.
Yeah. I've thought a lot about that one, actually. Because it's not a problem if you have those things, right? If you want to wear the makeup, or you want to choose the fashion, or you want to have all of the things, but it's about, have you healed inside first, right? Do you feel beautiful, and so you don't mind wearing the makeup? Or do you feel you don't hold attachment to things, so I can have a nice car.
Yeah.
Because do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you can have all of these things, but is the attachment or healed, or whatever that may be?
Yeah, like
that's what matters.
Like I used to be really into having really nice things. Like I had a sweet Jeep STI, super fast, $60,000-$80,000 car. I forget what I paid for it. But I ended up selling that. Like before I moved Fargo, like I sold everything that was high value that I thought I needed. And I thought, it made me feel cool to have, 3 motorcycles in the garage, expensive Jeep and all this. And I sold it all because, one, I wanted my stuff to work, and the more I wanted my stuff to work, like the gym and all that, the more I didn't need all that. The more, like I drive a 2002 Tahoe that I have to jump start it every day, and it was like, get a new battery. It's like, no, it's me jump starting it every day keeps me humble. Like, like I don't want to jump start it every day. Like it's cool. Like I'm okay being broke. I'm okay just working 16-hour days, working 3 jobs, and like I got a goal. I got a goal in life to, start a, hopefully one day a successful gym. At the very least, a gym that's going to be maybe a part-time gym, and I can meet a lot of cool people, and I can, teach people to do a lot of cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. And that's like the pursuit of happiness right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's really funny that you say that. Pursuit of happiness is, like, the Russians think it's a silly statement.
Really?
The pursuit of happiness. Because happiness is just a random feeling that you get here and there. But the Russians, they say it's the pursuit of purpose. Mm-hmm. Purpose in life. Because if you have purpose, you're gonna go a lot longer. Because happiness is just a moment that maybe something random gave you. But the pursuit of purpose is lifelong. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna just go party all the time and wake up with a hangover?
But is that true happiness?
What is happiness?
It's a feeling, right?
Yeah, it's just the emotion.
Yeah. So we're the pursuit of that state of feeling.
Yeah, that's everybody wants, because you break down. I'm not no scientist or anything, but you get endorphins, or what? Not endorphins, dopamine. No, not dopamine. Like when you lift, you feel really good because your body is creating endorphins.
Yes.
Same with like laughter and making fun. It gives your chemical that feel good feeling, and that's why everybody wants it always. That's why everybody's looking for that all the time. Yeah. And like in my life, I found out struggling and just being proud of yourself is way better than happiness, or the feeling of being happy is better. Not as good as just succeeding.
I love that. The pursuit of purpose, because the pursuit of purpose, you get to is all of the feelings. It's all of the, right? Because when you have purpose, that you see the distance, so you don't mind. I mean, so you're in the struggle, but you still see that distance.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have the ups, and so it's like there's the happiness, but then it's just gonna be all the things. But without that purpose, without that distance of pursuit, then you might be missing the journey. Yeah,
you gotta wake up and want something more for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Like people do a lot of stuff for easy money, but easy money, it gets you nowhere, because it's not going to be easy someday.
Yeah. Wow. This is pretty stinking awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think way too much throughout my day, and I'm really into conspiracy theory stuff too. So I'm just glad I have a mind that can actually.
How much time do we have? Let's talk.
Like, if I didn't have a mind that didn't think, like I remember one time I was listening about mermaids. And all night I was like, mermaids are real. Mermaids are real. Like, there's proof. The next morning I go, Matthew, you're an idiot. Like, you literally thought there were mermaids for like 3 hours. No, I love it. It's all interesting to me.
Why did you believe that there were mermaids for 3 hours? I want to hear that story.
Because I wanted to.
Okay.
Like I like the idea that Bigfoot's out there. Aliens. I love aliens. I'm a big ghost person. Like, if I can't sleep, I'll watch like real ghost videos on YouTube. It calms me down to think that there's spirits out there that want to do good and bad.
That calms you down?
Yeah, actually, it really does. Like, I can't watch scary movies, but I can sit there and watch like real life ghost videos of weird things happening, and like it calms me down. I love it.
So ghosts exist?
Ghosts.
Totally exist?
Yeah, absolutely.
So mermaids?
My parents' bar is haunted.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No way!
Yeah. When we were doing a lot of stuff happened when we were remodeling it like 20 years ago. Or I guess 20 years ago. No, about 25 years ago, we'll say. No, 15 years ago, I apologize. But we started renovating the place and doing the bathrooms and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And weird things would happen. There was a plumber downstairs. This is one that wasn't from our family. The plumber's flashlight kept rolling away. And he's like, well, that's weird. So we go grab it, and he starts working. He sets it down, and it rolls away again. And he kind of looks at the floor. He got some water, and he pours it down, the water rolled towards him, but the flashlight would roll away.
Wow, that's so cool.
And there is actually a moment where the ghost in there, we named her Monique, the ghost actually locked the door on her. I forget the situation, but yeah, there's been a lot of weird things that happen. Actually, the funniest story, and this happened to two separate family members. I was at the bar, I was talking to some customers, and I was telling the story about when I was younger. I remember I heard a bunch of puppies barking, like yelping, and I was like, and I said when I was younger, I would run downstairs and I'd look for them, and I could never find them. And then Marina was listening, she goes, Matthew, that happened to me too. So both me, my sister, and my brother, because my sister and my brother happened to them, we both heard puppies in the basement barking, and we'd go chase and look for them.
No way.
Yeah.
Hey, Monique.
Yeah. Monique's.
What's up, Monique?
Yeah. Oh, my little sister, she wanted to go downstairs by herself most days. She's
Oh.
just terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work at, not Boots, but the other one in Medora. And I could not close for the life of me.
No?
There. No, I would be like, mop, 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 sweep, sweep,
Good
peace out.
God,
Because
yeah.
it was, energetically, I feel like it was intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be laying down in the basement or whatever, or laying in my house, and my closet door will be open. I'd just be thinking, just like, just shut by yourself. Like I want that experience of seeing it, it's happening. Like, ghosts are just cool to me.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay, because I had a thought. So my son is like very intuitive, just very like, is intuitive the right word? But he just really senses a lot. He has like can't loud noises
Yeah.
and too many, just energetically wise, like people and all of this stuff. And I mean, and he said some interesting things. So like one time we were looking at a grasshopper, and like I said, I'm not like a spiritual, religious person or whatever. And we're looking at this grasshopper, and I was like, Cade, like, do you see the eyes, and do you see how it's laid?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, the grasshopper wasn't moving, so we could really, really see the grasshopper for what it was. And he was like, yeah, I know, Mom. And he just turned 3 2 days ago.
Okay.
And I was like, isn't it beautiful? It's so different than us, right? And he was like, well, yeah, God made it.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
best answer ever.
yeah. And it was like, yes, God did make the grasshoppers. And how did you know that? Because that never came out of me.
There's a thing that people say about young kids, and that they see stuff and they hear stuff, and way more than adults, or even toddlers, or young kids. Like when they hit 5, it's like that all leaves when they start reacting with other kids.
Well, I think it's kind of, everything, they're taking everything in for the first time. So they're not as numb to it as we get. When we get older,
everything's new.
Everything's new. And so it's like, I feel like I learn a lot from my son because I learn to see everything again.
Yeah.
And a lot deeper. And like, it takes me forever because he will sit and he'll look at the lines on, well, right now he's beating up this plant, as you can see. Yeah. But he'll sit and he'll just like observe the lines, and I find myself finding the beauty in the lines too. Like, you're right, Cade. Like, that is beautiful. But where I was going with that is, we go for a walk downtown almost every day, and we get past that haunted house, or so they say.
Yep.
And
the lion's house.
The lion house. Yeah. And he goes, and I've never said anything, so I don't know if somebody else has, but I thought this was very interesting. So he goes, are there ghosts in there, Mom? And I was like, I don't know, Cade, maybe. And he was like, I think there's ghosts in there. And I was like, did you say hello? Because I'm not trying to encourage him to be afraid of those things. Because I feel like sometimes, with like TV shows and things like that, like kids are taught to fear things that they don't need to, like spiders or ghosts.
I have a pet snake, so.
Snakes, exactly.
I have a
books will do that, and it's like, well, no, we're all connected.
There's only 2 things people are naturally afraid of at birth. One is loud noises and the fear of heights.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Loud noises and fear of heights are the things that we're naturally afraid of.
Mm-hmm. So the rest we're just projecting.
Yeah, absolutely. The rest are taught.
That's something that like stresses me out so much as a parent. I'm just like, you're so perfect. I'm going to try my hardest not to like
steer you the wrong way.
Yes, yeah. or numb you.
But there's only,
But they're, sorry, what?
Like, kids-wise, especially when they get older, like my daughter's in junior high, they see you 20% of the day, 10% in the morning, 10% in the evening, and you have no control of what they hear or say in high school or junior high or elementary school, what they're learning. The only thing we can teach them is how to think and, hopefully, pass down good morals.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of work to make sure that those hours that you do get with them are very intentional.
Yeah, absolutely.
And loving and all the right things, because it's like that's the impact that is really going to sit.
Yeah. I watched something the other day about if a kid, let's say your son, like you're making some eggs or whatever, and he grabs the eggs on top of the thing and it's about to roll off, would you stop it from rolling off and hitting the floor?
No, you shouldn't.
You shouldn't, because that's a 5-cent egg over a lesson. Like, hey, like look what you just did.
Right.
Like, here's a rag or whatever, and make them clean it up or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just a simple exercise, but just in life, like as they go through, like, okay, like my daughter, when she tells me stuff, I'm like, well, how are you going to handle it? Like, ask them questions, and if they ask for advice, maybe I'll give her advice if she asks for it. But most of the time, I just, like what you do with this, you constantly just ask questions, why, or why did that make you feel that way, or whatever. Like, how could you change it if you wanted to change it? Like, so I do that with my daughter. She's pretty smart, of course. She's my daughter, so I'm gonna say that. I'm not gonna say she's something, anything else besides smart.
Well, we're all so amazing, every one of us, and that's like the.
Not every one of us.
Well, I think there's always good.
Is there? Like we could go the extreme route and say like Hitler. Hitler, would you consider him good?
I struggle with this one.
Because Hitler was good for Germany. He had health care and everything, and retirement. Retirement actually started in Germany, I believe. The idea of retirement. So it's like he was good for Germany. Just he wanted everything. So it's like, are all people good or are all people bad? We're all people, right? It's just what are our
maybe
intentions? That's
why we're it's like there is no such thing as good or bad. Maybe. Probably
not. It's just words we add to something that we feel is right and wrong. Because something good for me might be bad for you.
Right.
Like if your camera dude did something for me, but you're like, hey, why didn't I get that? So it was bad for you. Like it was good for me.
Right.
Yeah, it's the idea of good and bad is subjective in any sense of the way. Like there's generally good things like, hey, good morning, how are you? Being polite. Yes, that is good. Those are good, healthy habits. But when you get down to all the variables in life, a good thing for me might not be a good thing for you. Or like, let's say we were at the same job and I got the promotion and you didn't. Good for me, not so good for you, kind of thing.
Different lenses of life, different journeys.
Yeah.
Just different journeys.
Yeah.
Even when it
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, but I really do struggle with that whole. I struggle with the worst people. I feel like I can see the best.
Oh, you see good in all people. Yeah. No, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I really see.
I'm like
the world in people. Like I see potential, but at the end of the day, like
it's like
we can't do anything about it. We just.
Yeah.
That's why I had anxiety the other day, is because this person I know that is not doing the best decisions. Like I see the potential in them to do like the craziest cool things, and the person's heart is so big, but she feeds it to the wrong people. I don't know. It's all it's life.
It's all part of the journey.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, holy smokes.
Yeah. We didn't talk much about jiu-jitsu.
I know. But I super appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it's good. Like I don't talk to people that much anymore, so it's good to actually sit down and just talk. Like whatever, it's good. It's healthy.
I mean, we got a little bit in there, a little bit of jiu-jitsu, a little bit about your podcast.
Jiu-jitsu is the reason why I've been doing like this. It's really structured my life to do the things I'm doing right now. Like, I don't think I would have, like I said, I take a pretty big pay cut doing all this stuff, and I still have pretty high child support and all that stuff. But if I didn't have the mindset that jiu-jitsu gave me, like, I couldn't do it. Like, I just couldn't. So jiu-jitsu has just been everything to me.
Are there like top things that jiu-jitsu gave you?
If I'd like make a list,
Mm-hmm.
patience. Jiu-jitsu gave me a lot of patience, and you'll be able to sit back and watch and see what's going on. What's the word I used the other day? Taking what's the word? When you take the fault for something. Why can't I think of it now? Oh man.
When you take the fall for something?
No, when you take accountability. There we go. When you take like it's really time when you take accountability for my actions, or for, even if it wasn't my fault, like what did I do to get there? You know, it's taught me how to breathe. It's gave me friendships. It's kept me in the shape I am. Like I said, I'm 38. Like most people don't even think I'm 38. Everybody thinks my younger brother is actually older than me, and so it doesn't allow you to stress through the silly things in life, because something like my boss yelling at me is nothing compared to someone trying to choke me, kind of thing. Like it relieves stress. It's just wonderful, and I wish everybody did it. I know even Theodore Roosevelt had talked about how the importance of jiu-jitsu was way back in the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that. Gosh, Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude.
Pretty amazing person, yeah.
He also said boxing should be every kid should do boxing in school, I believe. He says boxing should be like a mandatory thing in high school, or whatever school it was back then, which I believe that too, because learning how to take a punch is probably pretty important to everybody.
I'm feeling inspired to do boxing now.
It's boxing so fun, yeah. And I just started a women's kickboxing class, and my sister Marley, she was pretty proud of herself, because she's a little bit overweight, and she zipped up her zipper, and she's like, it just zipped up. Like she was just pickled pink all day long, and she quit smoking because of it. It helped her quit smoking.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Healing the home on the inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that is so awesome. Because I don't really think it's about when you're doing that sport, it might not even be about the way you look, maybe just a small bit, but it's about what she's doing on the inside, like the commitment and the hard work and the sweat.
There's this one gal, she was very much overweight, started jiu-jitsu, fell in love with it. I think she dropped like 150 pounds doing jiu-jitsu in like 4 years.
I'm not going to lie, when I did Muay Thai, I was in the best shape ever.
Yeah, it's punching and hitting something and sweating and yelling or whatever. It's all there, and it does wonders. It's because your body needs to cry, and your body still needs to yell too, so you can get that out at the gym.
I love that. Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was so cool. I
felt like I stuttered a lot, but like I said, I don't talk to that many people.
Not at all. Yeah. I didn't think so at all. I was like, I'm so glad once again that we have this like to look back on, because just all of the things that you shared were so cool. And I had so many moments where I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought of that. Or you made me think even deeper, and like I love that. That is like my favorite type of conversation.
Well, you just proven to me that thinking's healthy. Like, sometimes I think I'm crazy about some of my thoughts. So.
Well, I love it, and it's nice to know somebody that thinks a lot too. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into Tea Talks. We have Matthew here with Hello, Sweetheart. Yep. See, I already messed it up because I was about to say Shane Johnson. Badlands Jiu Jitsu.
Rough Rider Jiu
Rough Rider
Jiu Jitsu.